Ladies and gentlemen, I come here today to let you know that all men may be created equal, but all blades are certainly not created equal. Look no further than Dromarch to see that there are blades in this game that are truly unremarkable, and it is truly an impressive feat to be ranked 50 out of 51 in this game, as our tiger pal Dromarch is. But why is he so unremarkable? He's a guaranteed story blade at the start, and you'd think this would make him pretty good regardless, right? Well, not exactly. In this video, we're going to take a look at Dromarch, discuss why he's not good, and if you still wish to use him after that, show you how to best use him if you want to take advantage of his strengths. If you enjoy this type of guide content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and look forward to all of the future blades, both good and bad, because it does help out so much. So Dromarch is the first exclusive blade we will cover. He can only be used by Nia and then later on Rex. He is also the only twin ring rare blade, with all the other twin rings being common dog blades. There are some clones of his weapon that are really good rare blades, but for this specific iteration of the weapon, he is the only rare there is. He is a healer class blade, and he can do pretty much nothing outside of this role due to his unremarkable skill tree. He has the lowest critical hit rate tier in the entire game, reaching only a maximum of 10%, which is really bad when you consider how useful critical hit rate is in many scenarios in this game. He also has one of the lowest auto attack stats, even when maxed out with a good core chip, along with an unremarkable block rate. His physical defense is an awful 5%, but he does get a solid ether defense value of 35%, not that any of that matters, since you will probably never get aggro on Dromarch anyway. He does come with a decent cooldown of 4, making him have a decent availability in combat if you swap blades pretty often, but only a 10% ether modifier, which is pretty weak for a rare blade stat mod. Getting him to S+ Trust does help out, of course, but it only does so much for him. Let's take a look at his skill tree and see why he's so unremarkable, though. The first skill we have here is Celestial Gift. It will reduce blade combo damage Dromarch receives by 30% at level 1, increasing up to 50% at level 5. This is a truly awful skill. Where do I even begin? Well, for one thing, this only affects blade combo damage, not blade special damage. Blade combo damage is the bonus damage you get from using blade specials, you know, the stuff like heat and aqua or steam explosion, that kind of stuff, not even related to the damage of the special, but only to combo damage itself. This also only comes from enemy blade combos. Just to be sure, before this video, I tested this with Dromarch and a blade with the same defense on general special damage from enemies. How many times have you seen enemies use blade combos in this game? It's probably not very often. As such, this skill feels pretty useless, but on top of that, it only affects Dromarch and the enemy has to actually use it on him. I'm not sure how that's ever going to happen because getting aggro on Dromarch seems almost impossible. There is virtually zero use for this skill, it is just that bad. The next skill is River's Blessing. At level 1, it restores 3% of your health every time you use a driver art, going up to 5% at level 5. Once again, this is just not an overly useful skill. If you're using Dromarch on Nia, you'll have a decent healing art that affects the entire party that can even be brought to a near full heal later on, and that acts as a much more reliable source of healing. Once again, this also only affects Dromarch, who's going to have a very difficult time ever getting aggro to take much damage, and not that you'd ever want it anyway. The effect is okay on its own, but it's just not that good on Dromarch, and there are plenty of superior forms of healing out there, even on Nia's own kit, and with her strongest core chip option. This can be a bit better if you want to use Dromarch on Rex, I suppose, since he lacks a healing art option, but still, there are better ways to heal. Dromarch's final skill is Howl of Calm. At level 1, this adds a 25% chance to restore 4% of Nia's max HP when taking a hit, rising up to 25% chance of restoring 12% of her HP when taking a hit. Well, 1 in 4 odds aren't exactly very good to begin with, and a 12% health recovery when taking a hit can be okay to get some of it back and appear tankier than you would have been otherwise. But again, Dromarch is probably never going to take too many hits anyway because his damage is so weak he's not going to get aggro. 12% usually isn't enough to out-heal a lot of stronger attacks in the game anyway, so once again this feels like a meaningless throwaway skill. All 3 of Dromarch's skills feel pretty useless the majority of the time, which is very bad for a blade's viability. It also contradicts his nature of being a healer, since they would have to be more useful if he actually could obtain aggro, but Dromarch doesn't really want to have aggro. But maybe not all is lost. Let us check out his specials. Dromarch's level 1 special is Raging Tiger. It is a physical-based special that has 3 hits and manages to be decently fast at the very least. Now, I doubt Dromarch is ever going to be your choice for chain attacks in a majority of situations, so the hit counts probably don't matter in his case, which is fortunate because his other specials are only 1 hit. In Dromarch's defense, the damage ratio of the special is actually pretty good. Starts at a ratio of 300 at level 1, rising to 500 at level 5, which hits 528 at max affinity, which is actually in the upper tier of Blade special ratios and higher than someone like Wolfric, for example. But ratio isn't everything, since Dromarch doesn't have too much to boost his damage with multipliers at all. Not that his damage really ever matters that much anyway. The effect on this special is that it will absorb 60% of critical damage dealt as HP at level 1, rising to 100% at level 5. Now remember when I said that Dromarch has the lowest critical hit rate tier in the entire game? Yeah, that makes this special not very useful at all. You have 3 chances to get a critical hit, I guess, but I wouldn't count on this being overly useful as a health recovery option. All around, this special is pretty average. Dromarch's level 2 special is Aqua Wave. This special is single hit and also ether based. It actually has a pretty strong area of effect range, higher than most other specials in the game, and it even has an actually useful effect on it, just restoring health based on damage dealt, up to 50% at level 5, which is easily enough for a full heal against most any enemy. It's actually decently fast if you care about the speed, but I don't really recommend it for any chain attacks since single hit and, Dromarch. As far as damage ratio, it kinda sucks. Starts at 360 at level 1, rises to 520 at level 5, and then 580 at max affinity, which is among the lowest in the entire game. At the very least, the effect can be useful if you're in a desperate need of heal, and I'd still say it's probably Dromarch's best special he has, so that's something he has going for him, I suppose. Dromarch's level 3 special is Wild Roar. This is also an ether-based single-hit special, and it actually has a pretty decent damage ratio. 500 at level 1, which rises to 700 at level 5, and 748 at max affinity, which is pretty good for a healer blade, even if it's still pretty middle of the pack overall. The effect will have a chance to spawn 2 health potions on hit, which isn't all that great since a full source of healing like the level 2 special or Nia's healing art will be more useful in most scenarios. Health potions can be good to leave on the ground for a bit, I suppose, but unless you're cross-set, much of the time they aren't all that useful unless it's one of the very big health potions you get from driver combos. All in all, this is a special that exists, and it doesn't really do anything that spectacular. Dromarch's level 4 special is Wild Melstrom. Technically, there's 2 versions of this depending on if you're using Rex or Nia, but for the most part they're the same thing with extremely minor changes. It has a damage ratio of 1100 at all points of the game and can stall driver combos upon use and offer invincibility as usual. Its bonus effect is spawning 2 health potions to pick up, which is the same as his level 3, and again isn't overly useful as an effect. This special is good because of its damage ratio, but otherwise doesn't really offer anything substantial to Dromarch that makes him more worth using, sadly. Dromarch really did get kinda screwed all around with his skills and specials. Just to exemplify this even further, I should mention that any common twin ring dog can reach the exact same auto attack stat as him, and use the exact same arts with the same ratio since those are properties of the weapon itself. And as such, any common blade dog has a decent chance to be a better blade than him based on their skill tree. For example, if I check the chart of this common dog blade I have a locked on Morag called Goro, he has the very strong ability Orb Master. He additionally has a skill called Humanoid Hunter, which makes him hit humanoid-type enemies much harder than Dromarch, and he comes with a superior health restoration of 8% when auto-attacking, which beats Dromarch's Arts healing later on when auto-attack damage can be decent, and it stacks well with the Tachyon chip that has the same effect. Back to Dromarch though, if you're still intent on using Dromarch to his fullest potential and you have a soft spot for the Tiger, I'd absolutely recommend running the Tachyon core chip. The Moon Matter chip in this case only gives him a 3% buff to his critical hit rate, and you miss out on this decent passive of restoring your health when auto-attacking, which ends up being pretty good self-healing if needed. All in all, maximize the auto-attack stat though if you don't have a Tachyon core chip, since this affects healing as well. For Aux cores, I'd normally recommend running Affinity Max Attack, but since Dromarch isn't exactly known for his damage prowess, it may not be a bad idea to make him more supportive for the party like running Affinity Max Barrier. Dromarch's costume options always try to focus on aggro reduction, which honestly is not very needed if you have other heavy hitters in your party, and you can try out Night Vision or Sunlight Eye to make sure your healing auto attacks actually hit on enemies that have a lot of evasion, or just go all in on the aggro reduction strategies and use Arts or auto attack stealth. Regardless, it doesn't really matter much, but I've always thought that more damage can be helpful in a lot of situations, even on healers, so Affinity Max Attack is still a pretty solid option. For accessories, I would actually recommend using a ring attachment since this increases your auto attack stat, and as such makes your healing and damage both stronger, being a better option than just flat making your healing stronger. Outside of that, I'd probably just stick to more supportive stuff like Burst Symbol or Critical Symbols, or if you want to break, a Beta or a Master Scope. If you're using Dromarch, you're definitely going to want another blade to carry the damage capabilities. For pouch setup, you may as well just go all in on art recharge since you can heal yourself when using arts. Paratha is Nia's favorite item in particular, so you can get some really nice bonuses to art recharge with it. Your only driver choices are Nia and Rex. Nia is the better option for pure healing and support since she actually has a healing art with Healing Halo, but Rex actually has some super fast animation speeds with the Twin Ring and can get the most out of Dromarch if you do have interest in turning him into some kind of damage dealer. Let's see how Dromarch functions practically though. So I think the best thing to do is just going to be to show off general Dromarch use and then show what he can do against some of the strongest challenges the game has to offer, just to show that even if you're using one of the worst blades, you can still have plenty of success. So first things first, I obviously have Hunter's Chemistry on 2 of my inactive blades just to make sure we can hit max affinity as soon as possible, and I'm going to be running with a setup of Ice Cutie Pie and Dagas as support. This gives me some driver combo utility that I can use along with Nia, and gives me access to Diamond Mist, which is a great blade combo, which I'm going to use right now. I'm able to set up a triple stack fusion combo by using Heat, my level 4 special Steam Bomb, and then Diamond Mist all on the same break, and then I can chain attack shortly afterwards for an extremely powerful chain attack. Now, I recognize a fight like this is just kind of showing off the power of my allies instead of just Dromarch here. And it does kind of do that to an extent, but you can also see Dromarch's chain attack damage can actually do something sometimes. Definitely not a world ender here, but if you have the right combo setups, you can make anything work very, very well, as you can just see right here. I was able to quickly use a level 3 combo, basically all on the exact same break, and get a lot of damage from it, and he's just going to die very, very quickly despite being a super boss. Nia's art cancel animations with Dromarch allow her to basically infinitely cancel because they last long enough to where the cooldowns don't actually affect anything, which can be very, very nice for her. The damage that Dromarch provides is nothing spectacular, but he can sometimes be useful. And now we're just going to quickly show it off on Rex. You can kind of see just how fast his art animations can be if I can actually not get blocked here. The Wind Slash, or Wide Slash, is one of the most quickest attacks in this entire game. And so is Eightfold Edge, and Spin of Bravery is a nice AoE attack. His other art's actually also additionally fast if you want to use that one. It doesn't really matter what you choose to use here. And with Rex, you can see if you actually want to use Dromarch for damage, you'll get a lot more damage this way. You're still not going to get much, because you can't really do the critical damage stacking, which is very, very useful. Just because Dromarch's critical rate is really low, but you do have some things that can actually help here. I still think Dromarch on Nia is just going to be the way to go, just because he is a more supportive blade, just because he's never going to be able to offer much damage, obviously. So just going full-on healing, full-on support is probably what you're going to want to do with him, but I personally think just offering pure healing is never that useful, and even if he is able to do that, I think other blades can do that goal even better than he can. Most Bitball blades, for instance, have far superior healing options. And there's just so many ways to heal in this game that pure healing is just not all that valuable, and Dromarch really doesn't offer much outside of that. Still, feel free to use whatever drivers and blades and whatever you want to. I think this setup is really good for just maximizing your certain blade combo here. And now we're going to use Dromarch to tackle the hardest challenge in the game difficulty-wise, the only 5-star challenge or 5-crown challenge on normal mode, 9th Imperial Armored Division. My goal in doing this is to show off just how useful you can make pretty much any blade in the game, no matter how bad they might seem on the surface. Right there, I just used my level 2 special, which is able to have that area of effect I talked about earlier just to kill every enemy that was still alive besides the Muss, which has a lot of health. And now we're going to see, just in general, that Dromarch can fight any enemy that this game has to offer. This is going to be the Ardanian Kuradal. He looks the exact same as the Tyrannid Titan Kuradal, but he's actually quite a bit stronger, has quite a bit more HP, has a lot more dangerous attacks. And we're just going to see that Dromarch's going to be able to keep everyone healthy with his healing art, which you know is basically what you want to do as a healer. He's able to contribute to combos like using a full Aqua combo by himself. He's able to contribute to that blade combo with Diamond Mist, like I said earlier. And with just a properly set up 2-orb chain attack, we can kill the Ardanian Kuradal, even with someone like Dromarch. And so that's what I'm going to show off here, that even the strongest challenge that you can do on normal mode, you can use Dromarch and have plenty of success. Now, To be fair, I am also using Cutie Pie to be very effective as driver combo utility here, and Doggus is just great for boosting all the damage that we all have all around. But I'm still controlling Dromarch, so it still technically counts. Now, maybe you'd have a lot more difficulty with something like this if you had to use just all of the worst blades the game had to offer and you couldn't just choose to use Cutie Pie or something. But I still think even then you could have success if you know what you're doing and have a good game plan going into it. So now that I set up the water combo, I'm going to set up the other combo now, which is going to be Heat into my level 4 into Diamond Mist. And it's once again going to be on a powerful fusion combo here, just so I can get the maximum benefit out of it. So as soon as Cyrodiil falls, I use Heat because I'm expecting Tora to break pretty soon here. The Heat actually applies before the break, so I only get a double stacked fusion combo here. Unfortunately, that's all we need. I wait until Wave 3 spawns also, just because that's going to allow me to get the area of effect and the chain attack to get rid of these other two annoying enemies, which are the helicopters here, which can be a pain in the butt if you have to deal with multiple enemies at once. So we set up the combo, and we're going to chain attack right after this. We have 2 orbs set up now, and we have a Fire Blade, which is going to be able to guarantee hit the water orb and do extra damage to it, so we don't have to worry about much RNG in this chain attack. Just one of our specials has to hit the water orb between me and Cutie Pie. And fortunately, the very first special hits it, so we're going to be guaranteed to break the orb we're supposed to now, which is very, very nice here. So now with our double stack fusion combo on the break, which is going to last the rest of the chain attack, we're going to be able to get a lot of damage on the Cyrodiil. Our allies are going to be help carrying us, and even Dromarch's going to get a use here. You're just going to see the level 2 special just kill the helicopters behind us there, which is very, very nice. And Poppy and Doggus are going to carry us against the Ardanian Cyrodiil as far as damage here. The burst symbols and critical symbol that I have on Nia as support are very, very useful in helping us accomplish this task. And regardless of how strong this enemy is, how difficult this challenge is supposed to be, we're able to handle it pretty much no problem at all. Dromarch's even getting a few damage caps here, showing that he is definitely a powerful blade too, right guys? Unfortunately, this chain attack actually does end up falling just short here, but we're able to kill him pretty much right afterwards with virtually no issues at all, so it's not really a big deal. And we're left with this Ardanian Sharper here, which we're just going to have our allies go kill while we just stand over here and heal. And the reason we're going to do that is because the last phase of enemies is going to spawn over on this side of the map, and we're just going to go take them out pretty quickly once they spawn. No issues at all, and Dromarch, the absolute greatest blade on the planet, is able to defeat the hardest challenge, on normal mode at least. On Bringer Chaos, it would likely be much, much more difficult, but, you know, it's definitely something you can try to do with some of the worst blades if you really just want to see what the potential is here. I think there's better strategies and better blades for something like that, but, you know, Dromarch's here, he can do it, and in less than 4 minutes and 20 seconds, we are going to beat the hardest challenge in the game by using Dromarch. Yes, we had the support of 2 of the best blades in the entire game, but we're also using Dromarch, so it counts. So, despite being kind of bad, not having useful passives, and just being weak overall, we can still beat this challenge. You can use any blade you want to in this game and have plenty of success if you know what you're doing and are set up properly. I personally think that's awesome that even someone like Dromarch can be used in this game and give you plenty of success despite being one of the worst blades in the game. Sure, Dromarch is pretty bad, but if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. I think that about covers the basics of Dromarch though, and I hope you all learned something from watching this video. As usual, if you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and look forward to all of my future content. With all of that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.